त्रिभुवनकमलं तमालवर्णं रविकरगौरवराम्बरं दधाने वपुरलककुलावृताननाब्जं विजयसखेरतिरस्तु मे नवद्या।
ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञान अंजन शलाखया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः। Hare Krishna. This is the second shloka of Bhisma Stuti given in Srimad Bhagavatam, 1st canto, 9th chapter and text 33rd. Now, through this particular shloka, Bhisma Deva is giving us the process by which one has to fix his mind at the time of his death by glorification of the Rupa Madhuri or the transcendental form of Lord Shri Krishna. Now, one thing here is to note that Bhisma Deva is not just reciting this shloka, he is expressing his feelings, his emotions, his bhavanae for the Lord. And these emotions we have to appreciate. Now, how do we know that out of pure devotion Bhisma Deva is having these intense emotions? Now, here actually many Sri Vaishnava Acharyas in their commentary they have mentioned that actually Bhisma Deva glorified Lord Shri Krishna. Bhisma Deva offered these verses to Lord Shri Krishna right in the middle of the battlefield when he was fighting with Arjuna. And now when he is lying on his deathbed, now he is putting these shlokas into he's expressing through his words right in front of Lord Shri Krishna. So his intensity of devotion is apparent from the very fact that this glorification was sung in the middle of the battlefield. So thus many acharyas comment upon this, that even when he was in severe pain and agony, lying on the deathbed of arrows, even at that time he was offering these beautiful prayers to Shri Krishna. So this is the evidence of his feelings. Now, starting with the shloka. Now, in the very beginning of his glorification, Bhisma Deva addresses Shri Krishna as Vijay-Sakhe. Srila Prabhupada also writes that Bhisma Deva takes this opportunity to address the Lord as Vijay-Sakhe. Now, Vijay being another name for Arjuna, Srila Prabhupada writes conqueror, and Vijay-Sakhe means addressing Shri Krishna, who is the friend of Arjuna. And Srila Prabhupada writes, thus the Lord is pleased when he is addressed conjointly with his devotees, because he is eternally related to his devotees through the pastimes, thus giving maximum pleasure to the Lord. And simultaneously, Bhisma Deva is also glorifying Arjuna for possessing the Lord as his friend. Although in the middle of the battlefield, Arjuna was his so-called enemy, but still he is considering Arjuna as pure devotee of Lord Shri Krishna. Bhisma Deva is not considering himself as a devotee of Shri Krishna, but he wants to remind Krishna of Arjuna, and thus he is addressing Krishna in relation to Arjuna. So that's why he is being addressed here as 𝗍𝗍𝘆𝗍. So just by this, just by addressing as 𝗍𝗍𝘆𝗍, Bhishma Dev is teaching the principles of devotion to consider ourselves as the most subordinate while glorifying Sri Krishna and his devotees simultaneously. So this is a Mahajan, a teacher. Now Bhishma Dev says Tribhuvana Kamanam. Kamanam means, Srila Prabhupada writes, the most desirable. And Tribhuvan, in all the three planetary systems, upper or the heavenly planetary systems, earth as well as the lower planetary systems, in all the three planetary systems, which is the most desirable thing? So here Bhishma Dev says the most desirable thing is your transcendental form. Your Rupa Madhuri is the most desirable thing, is the most desirable object in all the three worlds. And it is that desirable that even, it is that attractive that even asuras get attracted to it, as seen in the case of Kaliya Nag. So thus impressing upon the point that devotion is a spontaneous attraction towards the Lord, or in other words, this is Raganuga Bhakti, spontaneous devotional love. What we are practicing is Vaidhi Bhakti, based on rules and regulations. But when we see the pastimes of Krishna with his intimate, most intimate sakhas, that there it is Raganuga Bhakti. It is also simultaneously impressing upon the point that Krishna, that your he says that Tamal Varnam. So Tamal Varnam, why is he says Tamal Varnam? He says that your bodily color is a bluish, blackish hue of Tamal Vriksha or Tamal tree. That means he wants to, Bhishma Dev wants to impress upon this point that your body does not belong to this material world. Although you are here amongst us, but your body is transcendental. You are transcendental. And also simultaneously, from this word Tamal Varnam, he is reminding Lord Shri Krishna of gopis. Why gopis? Because gopis want to see Krishna in this form, Tamal Varnam. Or in other words, Bhishma Dev is relishing Madhure Bhakti Ras right at the middle of the battlefield. And why? He is not relishing actually himself, but he is relishing because he wants to give, he is glorifying this Madhure Bhakti Ras, thus giving maximum pleasure to Lord Shri Krishna. That's why he says Tamal Varnam. So next line, Ravi Kara Gaura Varambaram Dadhanai. So through this line, actually he is focusing, he's portraying Krishna as his hero. So how does he do that? He says Varambaram. He says, Shri Krishna, you are also known as Pitambaram, one who wears a yellow dress. And that Varambara, that dress is glittering. And how that is glittering? Ravi Kara. Through when the sun rays, Ravi Kara Gaur, when the sun rays fall on your Pitambara dress, then it is giving a goldish hue. And thus you are appearing to me like a hero. Like when you are racing towards me to kill me with wheel in your hand, it is appearing like as a hero is approaching. So this since Bhishma Dev is himself a great warrior, he is visualizing Shri Krishna in chivalrous bhakti ras. He is visualizing him as a hero in the middle of the battlefield. And Srila Prabhupada is stressing on this point that a devotee, a pure devotee, is related to Shri Krishna, can be related to Shri Krishna in any one of the five principal rasas. It is not necessary for one to relate to Krishna in the relation of conjugal love only. here Bhishma Dev through chivalrous bhakti ras is relishing the greatest ecstasy, and not necessarily he has to jump over to the relation of conjugal bhakti rasa, which is seen in this mundane world, that people jump over to that rasa, and which is just a way, it is just a cheap relation. Srila Prabhupada writes, it's a very cheap relation, because although we are attracted to this material world, but we want to relate ourselves to Lord Shri Krishna in the mood of conjugal love, which is not but just another manifestation of our lust. So, and another point which Srila Prabhupada writes here, that that this, through when he is able to focus on the dress, on this golden dress of Bhishma Dev, that means golden dress of Lord Shri Krishna. So that means he has forgotten everything what is happening all around him in the middle of the warfare which is going on. That means through his devotion, through his feelings, he is able to focus on Lord Shri Krishna. Or in other words, devotion or bhakti itself leads to focus or concentration. It's not the other way around, that we will concentrate and we will do bhakti. We need to have devotion, we need to have feelings for us to able to focus on Lord Shri Krishna. So this is also one important point. Next line, Bhishma Dev says, Vapuha alakakul avrita anan abjam. So he says anan abjam. Abjam is anan is face and abjam is lotus. That your face is appearing like a lotus. He says that now Acharyas write here that in the middle of the battlefield, when he is racing to kill Bhishma Dev, at that time Bhishma Dev is visualizing Shri Krishna's face as lotus. That means he wants to say that so how Bhishma Dev is saying that in anger your face is looking like lotus, because when a lover is angry, he looks even more beautiful, even more handsome. So hence he is addressing Shri Krishna as Anan Abjam, and he says Alakakul Avrita. So here commentators write that the perspiration, because of intense the fight which was going on, the perspiration which was appearing on the face of Lord Shri Krishna, when it was glittering under the rays of the sun, they were appearing like as imprints of sandalwood pulp on his face. The paintings, it was appearing like paintings. So this is what Bhishma Dev is offering to Lord Shri Krishna. And he says, Rate rastume, that let my attraction be reposed upon this Rup Madhuri form. And the last word he says, Anvadya. This is very important, because he says without desire for fruitive results. Now why does he say that without desire for fruitive results? On one hand he is glorifying Krishna like anything, and on the other hand he says that I should not have any fruitive desires. This is to stress upon the fact that he is realizing this fact that he is still within this material world, and it is only and only by the grace, by your grace of Lord Shri Krishna, by your grace only I am able to do devotion. That means he says that I am not a big devotee, but you are a great master, you can lift me up. So this is the attitude of a devotee, always remaining submissive. So through this glorification we see what is Bhishma Dev's offering. First of all, Bhishma Dev offered Shri Krishna his dear devotees. He offered the relationship of Arjuna with Krishna. He is reminding Krishna of gopis, the Madhurya Bhakti Ras. He is offering lotus to Lord Shri Krishna. He is offering sandalwood pulp to Lord Shri Krishna. And through all these things, through all this paraphernalia, he is offering his feelings to Lord Shri Krishna. This is the way one has to focus his mind on the transcendental form of Lord Shri Krishna at the time of his death. And these feelings we have to appreciate, we have to worship. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.